Good morning and welcome to Union Café, brought to you by Father's Chapel. Sounds like a little commercial, don't it? We're glad you're here. We're going to have everybody, if you can, if you have one, put your beverage up. We're going to have a virtual coffee shop where we're going to sit around and have conversations as we drink our favorite beverages. If you don't have a beverage, that's all right. Hopefully, you're not going thirsty. But as we talk and if we see each other raise a glass or take a sip, we know we're just at the right place. So, but we're doing virtual coffee shops until we get our real coffee shops. And when we get our real coffee shops, we'll do our virtual coffee shop from our real coffee shop. I say that to try to keep us focused on what we're going to be talking about 2026, things that are coming. And locations are good to talk about. We'll talk about all that. Programs, if you want to use that word, that's a strong word from the church system. All these things. But really, I just want us today sit and share about what we anticipate, what we expect, what we are planning, what we want to see in 2026. And somebody might be going, well, you should have told us that last week before we could write it all down and we could have something to share. But no, this is what a coffee shop is. We just come and sit at the table and we gather and we just have a discussion on where we're at. Let's see here. Oh, I think it's the next one. Let me see here. Aha. This is, look at here on that screen behind me. 2026 is going to solidify this. We don't step into God this year. We stepped from Him. And I don't know why that shifts so fast. We don't step into God this year. We step from Him. So all of 2026, I think I've been doing it for 25 and 24, but I'm gonna put a real emphasis that everything that we do, we're doing it from our union in God already. The difference is a lot of us and a lot of people that I run with outside of Father's Chapel, they're still trying to get to God. They're trying to seek God. And I know I'm using words that I've said them all. We're going to try to be with God. We're going to try to go to places where God is known to be. And if we can kind of just start to adjust our language, that everything that we do and at all times, we are already in union, we're already with God. Then when we speak from that position, we're going to come into 2026 e- expecting that things around us are going to shift and change and move because not because of exactly who we are, but who we're in union with and where we're speaking from. So we don't step into God this year, we're stepping from Him. Everybody understand what I'm saying? I'll stop there because that's just a summary of what we can talk about. And we'll go ahead and get it to the room. If anybody in the room who wants to, just either raise your little hand and wave, and I'll call on you, or you can speak, or you can go down to the bottom to reactions and raise your hand. And I don't know if Zoom is still doing that, where if you raise your hand out here, it raises your hand on screen. I don't see it, or the heart. Oh, okay, here is the boom, the hearts. And I don't know what other gestures it does, so nobody put up the double bird, okay? Don't do that. So, all right. So, anybody, let's see. We are 4 days into 2026. What has happened already that you want to mention or share? I'll let either Kim or myself. We had an anniversary, so we can talk about that if we want to. But what else has already happened in 2026? Hey, Justin, welcome, and Leah. What has happened in? Maybe I should ask this 6 months from now. What has happened in 2026 already? Kim, you
It's
want
been
to tell me?
quiet here.
It's been quiet.
Yeah.
Were y'all back from Savannah? before the year
We
started?
we came back. We came back last Sunday.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was our Christmas gift. That was last year. This year's been
Yeah.
quiet so far.
Okay. When you joined us from the road last week for the hour that you was with us, what part of on the trip was y'all at?
We actually were just leaving town, Savannah.
Oh, okay.
We were pulling out of downtown Savannah when we started the chapel, and so an hour that probably put me down around Brunswick, maybe
Okay.
somewhere in there.
Well, thank you for tuning in and being part of it, even though you were on the road and on vacation. All right. Anybody else? What has already happened in 2026? We're just gonna get the small stuff out the way.
Went back to work already.
All right. Now you did maybe you are more excited than you sound, but that you didn't sound too excited about that.
No, work is overrated.
Work is overrated. Amen. Oh, at least work that I'll describe mine. That makes me be there at a certain time. I can't leave till another time gets here. In between there, I've got a 30-minute lunch that I can start and end, and then there's a couple breaks. But the rest of the time, they want me to be doing all the things that they're paying me to do, and I'd rather be doing things I'd rather be doing. Does that sound familiar to anybody else? Okay, so it is a necessity, or well, talking from 2026 now. We have been, let's do this way. I'll go a little deeper real quick. We have been programmed that the way that we meet our needs in life is we trade our time for money. And I see Justin over there. So hopefully Justin not put his thumbs down on what I said, but he's kind of agreeing that
I
it's a
agree.
lousy okay, it's a lousy system
Yeah.
that we trade our time for money to make needs. Now, there is a possibility that we get to a place in 2026 where the provision that we sit in already begins to move from where it is to where we are. And then we're still going to go do things, right? But we won't have to do it on someone else's schedule and time. Because I'd like to travel a little bit more. I'd like to go to get out into the community a little bit more than I can right now. I'd like to go and set up places where we're going to meet at a certain location for one time or maybe for each week. But I'd like to do that. I'd like to have more of my freedom in 2026 to all of us just gather when we want, speak when we want, go to where we want to go, help who we can help, and be there instead of I don't punch a clock. Well, I do. I have to sign in on my computer. That's punching a clock, ain't it? I have to ADT, ADP, and then go in there and I'd rather not do that. I'd rather not do that. Justin, you got your hand up. Go ahead, buddy.
Um, my wife and I are trying new ventures to break free from that, the trading time. I feel like there's a way to govern money, and uh, I'm taking a new business venture up, and I thought of all the thoughts that come. Father gives me all kinds of wonderful thoughts for that because the time that I have with my kids and the time with my family, it just becomes too valuable to compare to the shekels that they want to pay, you
Come
know.
on.
And it starts to change my heart. And I've had to go through a bunch of stuff inside of myself that I didn't know was there. But and that's all between me and Father. But the the system that's set up, like you said, I agree. It's not a very good one. And but I feel like us as people who live in the kingdom and are in union and in close connection with the Father are made from war
Come on.
and are made to govern these areas with more of His heart in it. So like for example, if I started a business, if I decided to hire anybody, which I don't have to, I don't ever have to go that direction. But if I ever decided to hire somebody and I had a successful business, I would want to govern the business uh, as my papa would. I'd want to take care of people and not do the same old things that I see done in business today in a lot of companies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a passion that I have. It's kind of ignited inside of me. Yeah.
Beautiful. And the word that I'm gonna key in on that you said is govern, because that's how we do when we're living from God and not trying to get to God. Then as we are in the Father, we turn and we have the ability with him to govern creation with his wisdom, his intuition, his insight, because he's going to give it to us as spirit, who we're spirit. So our spirit is entangled with him. We get all that. And then our soul will come into agreement with our spirit, right? And then our body will come in agreement with our soul and spirit. Y'all have heard me say that 1,000 times. But when all that comes in coherence, all that comes into alignment, all that comes in the way that the Father designed to be, then when we understand that, then creation will move towards that we're governing, that we're speaking, that we are carrying in the shadow of our mountain under the shadow of the Father's mountain. And these are all terms that are coming and things that we talk about. But governing is right up there with the word creative, right? We create and then we govern what we create. So all this is done not by, where was that one I just saw? Hang on. There it is. Look at this one. Oh, I know I missed it. Where'd it go? New beginnings start with the renewed vision, not new effort. So what we're talking about here is not what I can go do within my own bodily strength. Because I'll be honest with you, my body's 54. And Kim's been getting on to me about some of the things I've been saying about my body, right? And nature, and what that is for you, your mind's not running wild with imagination there on that one. Sometimes I say this old man or this old body or this old thing. She's been getting on to me saying, don't say that. And I need to change that. But this body needs to rest a certain amount of hours. Your body may not need as many hours as mine does, but it does. It needs rest. And then if we're still in the program where we're going to a certain location to trade our time and our skills and our abilities for money, then that's going to take a certain amount of our time. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not by effort that we're going to see a big switch in 2026, but it's going to be by the renewing of the vision. What's that vision? That I'm not this body, and I love this body, is physically sitting at 3151 Bonnybrook Drive, Lakeland, Florida. Zip code here is 330. Is it 11? I just write it I write it and I don't think about it. But that's where I'm physically sitting. But my soul is radiating around me, and my spirit is actually in the unseen heaven, right? And I have a triune life in relationship to a triune God who I call Abba, Father, Papa, whatever you call him, but it's good just as long as it's intimate and not formal. There might be times where you want to address your father formally, but your relationship should not start with Mr. God. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So we're already looking for 2026 to change, where we'll have more time to pursue the passion of things that we want. Anybody want to speak into? Listen, I do want to say this. If you are beautifully happy, if you're in bliss with what you're doing and you have ecstasy when you go to work, I'm not speaking against that. All right. So if you're in that position, please don't take this as me running down what beautiful thing you have. I'm just saying, if you're like me and the Father is And I think Justin was saying the same thing. The Father is putting things in my heart, in my spirit, in my soul that I can go do for Him. And I see Him doing it in the kingdom, and I want to do that in creation for Him or with Him. But when I get up at 4:45 in the morning, instead of pursuing those things, I am now spending the next hour and a half preparing to go to where I get paid, which that's okay. And if you like that, please continue. I'm not telling you to quit your, this is what I want to say. I'm not telling you to quit your job today. I'll just tell you that 2026 can be more than we think it can be. All right, anybody?
I'll add on to that
Go for it.
because for years I've wanted to do something different. Um, and one of the things I have to struggle with, not struggle, one of the things I have to work out in my perspective is, first of all, to be thankful for what's been provided
Come on.
for me. And then to realize instead of, if you are in that tension of where you want to do something else, you really are struggling, you really know that you've got all great ideas or you've got plans, but it takes time and provision to make those things happen. It's okay to keep that in focus, but at the same time, I have had to learn to see where I'm currently at in a different perspective
Come
because
on.
I'm not where I'm at on my job by mistake.
Listen
And
now.
sometimes that time that we are there may be longer than we wish, and it might not be the perfect place in or ideal in our mind, but the Father has us there for a reason. So maybe we're on that job that we clock in or clock out because that's where we change our territory. That's where we affect generations that are around us because no one else in this room can be in that location. None of you can work at the schools I've worked at and bring the kingdom into that school. You know, I can't work with the people on the corporate job that John's at and affect them. I can't work in the mechanic shop where Timmy is and meet the public as he does. So we all have a purpose, even though we might not like the 9 to 5 and the our time for money concept. I think if we work on changing, and I'm speaking from experience, I'm not saying this is we're all doing it wrong. I have learned I have to remind myself almost daily when I don't want to get up and do what I'm currently doing. I've been doing therapy for 25 years. I'm kind of tired of doing therapy some days. I don't want to do it. Um, but I've been able to do it in different places, in different ways. And I have to stop and think, how many people did I impact their life today? Did I say something that helped them or just my presence? Because I carry what I carry with me, does that impact another person? And so just to tag on, don't lose your dreams, but don't discount where you're at right now because
Wow.
your dreams might be a long journey
Come
of
on.
getting you to, and then just think about it. You had this dream, but what if you got to that dream and it all got fulfilled? Well, then you're going to have another dream. Like
Yes.
it's not an end point. I think if we work on changing our perspectives and how we see where we are in the moment, then every moment counts toward where we want to be and that vision that we can have. And that changes, with time. But
Wow.
that's a big thing for me. And I live in that right now. Like I always have to catch myself with perspective of where I'm at and what I'm doing.
Kimberly, you just above and beyond expertly explained when I simply said, don't quit your job today. And you put it in the perspective of Thanksgiving, which is not November. It is 12 months of the calendar. So thank you for giving us the more complete picture that we are where we're at because the Father has put us there and there are things that we can do while we're there. But as we outgrow what he has provided, and he wants us to develop and scale up and mature, that we have what we should have, the vision that we already have, what he's already given to us, what we need to do those when that time comes. Thank you, Kimberly. All right. Anybody else want to jump in and talk about this, where we're at right now and where we're going? Maybe it's about job. Maybe it's about relationships, Morgan and Timmy. Maybe it's about, you know, businesses.
If you got to jump in on that one, because I got a kid that's not happy with crayons right now. So
Linda's got her hand up. Go ahead, Linda.
So in the last few weeks, I have come across, I talk to people every day, and I do feel like I'm able to make an impact. But I'm going to tell you, in the last few weeks, I have had people come through, and I've really been able to speak to them. God has been able, I feel God's helping me speak to them.
Come on.
And I had one yesterday that she is a Christian woman. She's going through a hard time, and her mindset was so far off. I just couldn't believe who I was talking to. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I'm like, God just spoke to me and said, okay, you're in this position for a reason. They're having to live with the husband's stepmother, and there's big strife there, and it was ugliness, so much ugliness coming out of her. And I'm like, you know what? The woman's almost 80 years old. It sounded to me, I've never met her, it's like she's in the beginning stages of dementia. And I'm like, you're there for a reason, she's like, she's got to get rid of the dog. And I'm like, that's the dog's house. Like, that's not your house. You're only there for a year. I don't know. There was so much ugliness, and we were able to talk. And I'm like, look, as a friend first, you're wrong. Can I tell you this? And she's like, I know you're right. She goes, I just can't get past this yet. I'm like, well, but I was able to sew into her, and she doesn't listen to much. So I don't know. I had a new, it just opened my eyes to the things that I can do in my position. So,
Hey.
And the relationships that I can make, and that I have made, and I'm able to tell people, you're crazy, don't do that. Like, what are you thinking? I mean, I don't say it like that, but nicely. I don't know. It was very interesting, and I was like, okay, I'm still doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I still enjoy it almost every day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Linda, you are reaching people, and you're able to have conversations.
Yeah.
Which, we say is sacred, right?
Right.
And I just remember I was getting my haircut this week, and you were saying that you were having a conversation with a different person. And that person's like, you just trust everything's gonna work out. That's what the other person was saying. You're like, yes, everything's gonna be fine. And it's your relationship with the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit that allows you to live in that trust, and not just live in it, but vocalize it and let it shine before other people. And they're people.
Yeah.
People are shocked when you're like not worried. When we're not worried, people are shocked. When we are, when we express love, they're shocked. When we express that, revelation, they're shocked. People just get shocked. And one thing you just said is people don't listen. And most of the time, everybody's not listening because they're trying to think what they want to say in rebuttal of what you're saying.
Yeah,
so they're not living in the conversation. They are. Oh, when John shuts up, I've got some. Oh, I'm going to say, and they're not listening.
Yeah, she finally did. Like when I would say her name. Okay, can I tell you this? Out of love, can I tell you this? And she'd be quiet for a moment, and she says, I know you're right. I know you're right. So I guess hopefully I sewed something into her and they can get along. So I don't know. But I feel like she's there to help this woman who has let everything go. She's older. She doesn't have anybody to help her. And Yeah, that's a stepmother that never got along with them, but you're living in her home. She is helping you to a point, it's your turn to help her also. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Linda, keep
We'll see
having
what happens.
conversation.
Yes, I do that.
Keep your light just shining before those that come to see you every day. Do that. And that
Yeah,
goes for the rest of us.
yeah.
Someone here may have a job where you do not speak to people all day. I don't know, but I get to speak to coworkers. I got vendors who call in. I'm totally, my job is kind of molded itself around who I am, and I speak all day into people, even though my real job is processing invoices, which could be a solitary, that's not the right word. It is I do that. I could do that with speaking to nobody else, but they've, they have put me in charge of answering the phones and talking to people and uh, chasing down problems and explaining the solution to the problem and all that. So these conversations, it's really why most of us are in the place that we are, because conversations are sacred. And anybody who's moving from one position to another is probably moving to have more conversations or more influence or more ability to just shine light into the corruption or the darkness. Uh, I I don't think darkness is evil. I just wanted to say that real quick because sometimes we think when I talk about darkness, it's either the lack of mystery or corruption, not necessarily evil. I'm not saying that evil doesn't exist. We see it all the time, but we should not be afraid of darkness. I mean, that's a whole nother thing in it. 2026. Anybody else? What's changing that you know of already? Morgan? Morgan going once.
I get married this year. Other than that, that's all
Ooh.
I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. And does that also mean Timmy's getting married this year too?
Yes.
Good.
What
Good.
about the big fancy
Lord, I
house?
hope so.
Yeah, we're buying a house hopefully this year.
Cool.
Maybe
Cool.
some property.
I'll be one less job down this year. A little weird, but
Yeah.
there it is.
You'll only be working one job instead of two full time.
See that's what you want to do, right, Timmy? It's not you're not losing something that you're trying to hold on to. You're growing in one place, which is going to fulfill what you were doing in two places. Is that accurate?
That's yeah, that's exactly what's kind of going on. Is I'm wanting to be able to be around more, and with the job I have now, it's always demanding. I'm always on call, or I might have to leave at 3 a.m. and to me that's not fair to Morgan. That's not fair to when I'm with my daughter, when I'm up here in Zephyr Hills. If I have to leave while I'm getting my visitation with her, that's not fair. So actually, here in the next 2 weeks, I'll be putting my 2 weeks notice in at Zephyr Hills. So
All right. Well, we bless you, Timmy, and we believe that you are growing and developing and scaling in the way that the Father wants you to. So we thank you, and you and Morgan, we bless you both. All right.
Hopefully, we'll be getting more than just visitations with Annabelle too.
Hey, all right. So let's see what I was gonna say. If you need a haircut, go see Linda. If you need your car worked on, go see Timmy.
See you
I'll be there
Wednesday, Linda.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'll be there Wednesday to get my hair cut.
See you
I'm sorry,
Wednesday, Linda.
I was just corrected. It's Tuesday.
I was looking for the mute. Okay, I'll see all y'all next week. I'm excited.
Justin, talk to us.
I just want to say the exact same move that I forgot your name.
Morgan and Timmy.
Morgan,
Timmy?
yeah, Morgan and Timmy.
Oh.
The exact same move that you're making, I made probably just under a year ago. It was really demanding, constant hours, constant struggle. I actually was for I'd say a good 6 to 8 months, just sitting with Father and praying, talking, meditating with him about how do I fix this? Because I was, I had a newborn baby girl and it was too demanding. I wasn't having enough time. So what I did was I tried a couple different things, but eventually I took a pay cut, went to a different job to spend more time with my family. And I tell you what, he met me in the provision to where now I have more time with my family. I make less money, but somehow everything is over and abundantly still paid for.
Come
And we
on.
still have exactly what we need. So if that could encourage you, I think God is going to partner with you and help
Amen.
you.
Look at this behind me, goes right into what he's saying. Excuse me. I didn't mean to cough right in the microphone. We grow by awakening, not upgrading. And we've been running this week, the last 2 weeks, in places where from the outside it looks like it's all about the upgrade. We went to a marina, and I'm probably everybody in that marina wants a bigger boat. No matter what size boat they have, they probably want to upgrade, right? And on the other side of the road from the marina was the skyscrapers where people live to see out over the water. I'm not talking against any of this. I'm just saying that lifestyle is always focusing on the upgrade. And sometimes it's not about the upgrade. Well, most times it's not about upgrade. It's about awakening. It's about knowing that the family is worth. If you don't mind me saying this to the two guys who've already mentioned it, to take it, they're worth the pay cut. They're worth restructuring your schedule. They're worth saying, I'm not going to do this just to keep myself busy, because I have a wife and children and family that I can pour into. And so these are the things that um, the kingdom flows where the sons know they were the flock. So again, Kim wrote these, what, 3 weeks ago? Yeah. So this was not like, but anyway, so 2026, not about the upgrade. I want nicer things. I'm not going to lie to you, but they will not cost me my family. They will not cost me. We haven't spoken about this very much. But I will not let them cost me my identity. Who the Father says I am in Him, and I don't mean that by compromise, right? I'm not talking about I don't do anything that's unmoral because I want to keep my identity. That's performance, right? What I'm saying is, despite everything that I could look in the mirror and cause a list to say, this is why I'm not qualified. This is why I'm not going to be able to do this. This is why. But instead of all that, look in the mirror and say, I am who the Father says I am, and I'm resourced by Him. I sit in Him, and because I sit in Him, I affect everything around me in creation. What I see in the unseen is becoming seen in the seen. Is that a tongue twister? If it is, John did pretty good by saying that. But it's what Christ said: when thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We know what's going on in heaven by sitting in the Father. We're sitting from Him, speaking into 2026. Oh, something just hit me. Let me ask you this. Do you think the Father cares it's 2026? I don't know what that answer is. I didn't say that because I want to tell you my perspective. That was just what the Holy Spirit hit me. Does the Father care that it's 2026?
His time's not our time.
Oh, I was hoping somebody would go there. Does the Father care? Yes. Does He care about something called time? Let me say it this way. He's not limited by it. Oh Lord, help me. I don't think He's been, just to show you how free we are as sons and daughters. We're counting time, but He was not waiting for 2026 for you to walk into your blessing. He has said, my house has always been available to you. And let me bring some pressure off of us. If what we want to accomplish doesn't get accomplished in 2026, he is still available in abundance in 2027. Oh, maybe this will stretch you too. And truly, when we're sitting with the Father in the Spirit, we're sitting outside of time too. So if you want to go address something that happened in 2016 in the Father, in the unseen, you can go address that with him. Now we could talk more about that, but that's it gets a little freaky when we stop limiting the Father by time. Steve, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have you been in a secret place and next thing you know, an hour may have passed and you thought you'd been out for 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, time is irrelevant.
it is relevant. Absolutely. And I hope everybody's getting to the point, or at least stepping up to the edge. Maybe you have not experienced it yet, but you're saying, I that's what I want. That you go into you all of a sudden you're at work, you're driving in your car, you're at home, you're waiting in a queue, you're doing a line, you're doing whatever, and all of a sudden you're like, I got 5 minutes. I'm just going to kind of close my eyes. I'm going to take 4 deep breaths. And closing your eyes and your breath really has nothing to do with it. It is you. It's you refocusing you, right? It's not the breath that brings it. It's not the closing of the eyes, right? But I do these things because now I am aware of I've been breathing all day. I haven't been aware of it. So just as fast as I can turn my awareness to my breath, I can also turn my awareness to other things I've been ignoring all day, which is, and I don't mean this like it's a negative. I just haven't stopped to say, I am in you and you are in me, Father. But we take that 5 minutes and we get back to what Steve was talking about. In here, in the scene, the clock has ticked the 300 seconds. But there, it feels like it's been 3 hours or 30 minutes or whatever. You come back and you're like, there's no way I just experienced all what I experienced, seen all that I've seen, heard all that I heard, tasted and smelled all that I tasted and smelled, have the goosebumps upon goosebumps that I just had, and it's only been 300 seconds. I bless you with that kind of secret places and meetings going forward, because it's there, it's available. The Father wants it, and the Father, for those who are like, oh, I don't know how that could happen, this is where the Father is leaning in, going, if you only knew. The Father does not hide things from us, but he has hid things for us. Does that make sense? Justin, go ahead.
I've heard of, just wanted to mention what you're saying, right in line with it. I've heard of testimonies of guys who sit in their lounge chair and just go to spend time, and they're walking around having these amazing encounters and experiences for what feels like even months at times.
Come on.
And they're getting scriptures just into them, downloaded into them, burned into them, whatever language they use, but it's all pretty similar. And they wake up, and like you said, only 5 minutes, 15 minutes have passed, and it felt like months that they were there.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was amazing, and I would like to have those experiences. I don't chase the experience, but it would be really awesome.
Yeah, we don't chase the experience, we chase relationship, and out of the relationship, we get the Father gifts us with the experience. And what you will learn, and I'm just going to speak into people saying they may be watching this later, or maybe you're in the room, you haven't heard this particular language and lingo. It's said different ways in different places, but what we learn when we find out about this whole what necessarily is the clock clicking here is not the same there. And then you apply that to going to sleep. And my friend Ian, he calls it the night watch. That we can put the body to rest, but our spirit and our soul does not need sleep. So what does 2/3 of us do while the third of us is resting? Well, we could, if you right before you go to sleep, you're falling asleep, you're in that daze, right? You don't know if you're asleep or if you don't know if you're awake. But in those moments, if you're thinking and you're speaking to the Father that, hey, I want, for the next 8 hours, 6 hours, 4 hours, whatever your rest looks like, I want to be aware what's going on in the kingdom. All right. This is called governing. All right. We can just go to sleep and say for 8 hours, I'm not going to be aware of anything. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sleep. All right. But here comes the idea when we close our eyes, right? That is a perfect place for us to experience mystery. So why not gear ourselves or be ready for when we close our eyes for the longest part of the day in the creation? And on purpose, say, when I go to sleep, my body will rest, but my spirit is entangled with you, Father. So you take me where you want me to go. You show me what you want to show me. You tell me what you want me to hear. And then as you find yourself in what we used to call, and I'm doing air quotes if you're watching this or listening to this by audio, what we used to call just simple dreams now becomes the interface of our imagination, which is holy. Your imagination is holy. It's hard to describe your imagination. So the Father is also hard to describe. And when I tell people that Father is hard to describe, it's because he is holy. So these holy experiences we can look forward to. We can govern them. We can say, here's the biggest thing. We can say yes to the Father, to the Son, to the Holy Spirit. And if these are things that I haven't tried or you haven't experienced, again, the Father's not waiting for you to get to a certain area in your life. He's saying all this is available and that it is just like this, sitting around having conversations with people who have gone before us and is experienced an encounter, and they're sharing back with, well, this is what I saw, this is what I saw, this is how I prepared myself, this is what I did to grow and mature in this area. That's why I believe conversations with beverages are sacred.
I will say, just along those lines, because I know I've had to help myself in this area.
Come on.
Talking about dreams and giving your spirit and your soul permission to be with the Father while you rest. And um, John and I are very different in that respect. And early on, I was really jealous, probably,
Come on
when
now.
he would share things that he experienced, or he, even before we were on this journey of sonship, he's always had vivid dreams and he always recalls his dreams. I don't. I've had dreams, but I cannot hold on to them. I can't remember them the way he did. And that would just drive me nuts. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? So I have had to learn that my experience is different. So sometimes when John describes some of these things, I just want to let everybody know you have freedom and permission to be who you and the Father have decided you are. So for me, I have to, like you said earlier about something else, I have to trust that I dream. I trust that things happen when I rest and I sleep in the presence. And so for me, I don't wake up and go, wow, I had the most amazing dream last night. I can't wait to tell you, because that's what my husband does. I don't do that. I wake up and I go, wow, like Steven said, I wake up and I go like, okay, 5 hours have passed and I've got to get started again. And I don't recall occasionally, but I will just give you some examples of what happens with me. I wake up, literally it happened this morning. There's a song in my head
Come
and it
on.
doesn't leave. And I'm like, why is, and sometimes it's the weirdest song. It's like nothing, like, what is that about? And I may not know what that's about yet, but that's what I woke up with. And I'm like, I don't remember thinking about that song. I didn't hear that song played on my phone. Why is it in my head? The other thing that happens for me is we'll be having a conversation. It happened to us. We were driving on the road yesterday or day before. We're having a conversation and we say something. And it is just like if you took your hand in front of my face and I see a picture, a whole movie. I see just this glimpse of something. And I told you guys last week, I see big picture stuff. So I see this whole thing in front of me. And I'm like, I told John that we were talking about something and I grabbed his arm and I'm cracking up laughing at what I saw because it just gave me so much joy. And I described it to him. Everybody's going to have a different experience. So if you don't recall your dreams like I do, that's okay. Things will come back to you when you're having the conversations, like Linda was talking. When you have words come out of your mouth and you go, I didn't think about saying that, but apparently that's what needed to be said at the moment when you didn't come up with it yourself. I have learned to trust and believe that those are some of the things that get built into us when we're resting at night, when we don't, especially when we feel like we're so busy. And I don't feel like I've done enough secret place at all. I haven't, maybe I'll grab those 5 minutes like John talked about. But I think there's things that happen when we relax and we rest and we just give ourselves permission to be in Father's presence, but it's going to come out in different ways. So don't be discouraged because I was early on. I was like, I'm missing something because I would hear people like John talk about, oh, I had these fabulous dreams and I see this and that. And I'm like, where's my dream? I want it. But we're all just different that way. So mine happens later. My out, I guess it's the outflow. What my results always come to me later in different ways, not recalling a dream the next morning after I've rested in the Father. So just wanted to share that in case anybody else is questioning, like, well, John, you're a little weird, that we none of us do it that way. It's okay. We all have to learn. And I think that's the awareness, like we were talking about, John, is becoming aware of how it works for you. And there's a reason it all works differently for us. I believe that. I don't know what all the reasons are. I hope that made sense, but
It did. It did. And Stephen, you had your hand up. Did you want to add or
I
on
was
that
just
conversation?
agreeing with Kim 110%. I don't remember my dreams, but I get a lot of senses of deja vu.
Come on.
It's like, yeah, it's like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. I've heard this before, and it's weird because I'm the same way. There's a couple dreams I do remember, and they were not good dreams. Basically, they were really weird dreams. So I'm just kind of like, okay, I woke up mad. The last dream I remember, I woke up mad at my wife, and I was mad at her for like 2 days.
Wow.
So it's just one of those things. But I don't remember my dreams usually, but I do get a lot of sense of deja vu.
Right.
and
Well,
I was going to say, John and I have talked about that because I have had that my whole life and I
Mhm.
didn't know how to explain that. Um, but a couple different ways. Like you said, I'll be someplace and I'm like, this seems so familiar. The other thing is when it happens to me all the time, people will say, do I know you? And
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't think so. They're
Right.
like, you look so familiar to me. And I know I've never seen this person in my life.
Right.
But John and I have talked about this is where the things we don't fully understand. If time is irrelevant to the Father,
come
then
on.
time is irrelevant to our spirit. So
Woo.
Right.
maybe in something that we don't understand, I have met that person, spirit, somewhere else. Somehow and I believe that we are all connected in ways that we don't understand. And so things like that, I start to go, deja vu is not just a little thing. I think it's a spiritual thing. There is something in me that knows this is familiar to me and I can't put my finger on it, and that's okay. And when I meet somebody, I love it when people tell me, that's a great slide, that, oh, you look so familiar to me. And I love that now. It used to creep me out a little, like, oh, I don't know who you are. But I agree with Stephen. So we have our own experiences. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm glad y'all both brought that up, that it may not be a dream, it may be a vision, maybe deja vu, it may be all these things, it may be a song, a melody, it may be light. Okay. But what I would encourage everybody as they're walking through this, whatever form it comes into you, make a note of it. All right. Mentally, or if you're the person that has to write it down, write it down. Get a journal, carry a little moleskin. I carry a little black moleskin. Most of those are for not what I'm seeing. It's more about a lot of stuff comes to me in bits and pieces, and I write it down so I can look back. But do that, because here's what I want you to know. Because time is irrelevant, you can step back into that dream, into that deja vu, into that vision at any time. It's not one and done, unless you call it one and done. Because the Father's not. The Father's like, hey, I gave you this. This is now yours. So if you have that 5 minutes and you're stepping in and you want to revisit where you've already been, the Father's given you that gift. So you can revisit that, walk through it up to where it finished, stand on the edge of where it finished and say, now I will see more. Now I will hear more. Now I will feel more of that same vision, dream, and whatever. So you can record this. I'm using someone else's words, and y'all might get tired of me quoting him, but Ian Clayton tells us to record, review, and revisit. I just like how simple that is, And again, if you need a journal, get a journal. If you need to make pictures, make pictures. If you need a vision board, use a vision board. If you can keep it here, then it's there. But I'm not trying to put qualifiers on this, but again, what I'm talking about, things that I experience, things I encounter, it may be a dream, it may be a vision, maybe a trance, maybe a deja vu, but they're so real to me that they become as real as a memory. If I asked you right now to close your eyes, go to your childhood home, be on the outside of it, look at the front of it. And everybody's kind of doing this as I'm saying, I know. And I said, what color's the door? You could probably tell me what color the door is. When you open the door and you step in, what room are you stepping into? You probably could tell me that, even though you're not there right now. All right. So if let's sit in this room for 15 minutes. We stop the exercise. We go back. We're doing our daily life. And I call you up and I say, hey, let's go home real quick. Let's go back to your childhood home. Let's go look at that door. Let's step in that room. Okay. What's the room to the left? What's the room to the right? What's the room in front of the room you're in now? I'm pretty sure almost every one of us could tell us that. You probably could do it about your grandparents' house. You could probably do it about jobs you've worked at. You could probably do, but all you're doing in that moment is reliving a memory. And when you have an experience with the Father, you have deja vu, you have a dream, you have a vision. You can go back each time if you want to and go, okay, I've stepped into the first room, but what's to the left? What's to the right? What's in front of me? Is there anything here that I didn't notice the first time? Pick up things. Take things that are there and say, you know what? Now I'm going to talk a little crazy, so y'all get with me. I'm going to take this back into creation with me. And now you're not just leaving it there. You're bringing it with you as you come back in. And these things start to be things that you have in abundance. You see a box of joy, pick that thing up. Bring it back. Have abundance of joy. All right? These are what I'm this is what we can do as sons, knowing that we're already in him, so we don't have to work it up every time. We it's and we don't have to take our 5 minutes and go, I'm not going to think about nothing. I'm not going to say nothing. Father, if you want me to know something, you got to do all the talking. No, we can step back into the dialogue at any time. And the more that we practice this, the more that we're going to come and we're going to say, I didn't see that last time. I didn't experience that last time. You know, and for anybody who, let me say this because people are going to freak out. Okay. But if you're going into this and you're seeing demons and you're seeing destruction and you're seeing devils and you're seeing all this, listen, step back out of that and go higher. All it is that you haven't made it all into the kingdom. You're still staying in the spirit realm, the space between here and there. Okay. And we could talk much more about that, but all you do is step back out and just say, you know, that's not where I needed to be. I'm going to go a little higher, and you go into the kingdom. And I call that getting beyond the baby gate. All right. We put up the baby gate either to keep the children from that or keep the dogs from getting into a certain area. So all we have to do is go above the baby gate, go on the other side of the baby gate. And why I say that, what I want you to know is because now the corruption cannot follow you. The angry things, the bitter things, the upset things, the inferior cannot cross into the kingdom where only the superior can go. I'm talking very vague right now on purpose. All right. But for anybody who says, oh, I'm not going to mess with that because every time I do that, every time I close my eyes and I see death, destruction, and demons and devils. Well, step back out. Say, I am who the Father says I am, and I'm going to go into the kingdom. All right. So there's a whole nother thing. People had their hands up, but I forgot who it was. Was it Steve? Was it Justin? Was it Kim?
It was probably me. I was just thinking when you said that, it's like the elevator got off on the wrong floor.
Exactly. Exactly.
I was just going to add too that I love that we're having a conversation that we need to give ourselves permission to do this, because in traditional religion, in the circles that many of us were raised in,
Listen
this
now.
kind of conversation was what John was tipping on. You don't mess with this kind of stuff because you might go in the wrong place and you might, I guess, have influence from darkness or demons or whatever everybody was afraid of. And we were never, none of us were taught to embrace this, going into our dreams, going, realizing what your spirit does when you sleep, none of that. And so having permission to know that who you are in Christ gives us permission to experience all of these things. And like John, I just had a thought, like Stephen said, getting off on the wrong floor. You said step back out of it and go higher. I do. Early on, I think that's what we do. But there also comes a point when you close your eyes and that's what you see, you don't step out, and where you're at in that moment, you remind yourself who you are.
Come on.
And that changes even that level. Like if you are focusing, because I personally think you don't see those things unless you're agreeing with those things. So if
Oh,
you're standing right there and you're seeing demonic things, or you're seeing things that are really you stop and speak there. Even in that spirit realm, we have ability. And I think that takes practice. I'm not saying I'm a pro at it. I'm just saying occasionally I've done things like that where I've really had to, what's the word? I'm thinking of pull up my bootstraps and give myself a talking to, but I didn't leave the spirit where I was. I had to talk to myself there and say, this is not okay. This is my world. This is my kingdom. This is what I've been given to govern. So you have to leave if you don't belong here.
Yeah.
And so that, yeah, like John said, we were talking very vague, but just the permission to talk about this kind of stuff. Because all of us have probably had stories that we could share, but nobody ever shares this stuff because you don't want to be ridiculed. You don't want to get thought of as being weird or strange. You don't want to get told you need to go see a therapist or a psychologist. I mean, and then the church world would just say, well, you're just messing with evil and you're on dangerous ground. And that's just because none of them know who they are yet.
Come on.
So I just appreciate the freedom and I love this kind of conversation because this is hard conversation for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Kimberly,
We're
the
trying to
vision
make
I
it
just
easy and fun. Go ahead, Stephen.
okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The vision I just came up with is the elevator needs to go to 10th floor because Dante listed 9 circles of hell. So
those illustrations help us. Those are these things that we bring back to our memory. But this is what I would, because I'm looking at the time when we got to go. But here's what I would want to tell somebody is no matter, because I've been talking vague, I'm still talking vague. But no matter if you find yourself in the kingdom or on the creation or somewhere in between, your spirit, your soul, and your body is untouchable without your permission. Untouchable. Sickness cannot touch it. Disease cannot touch it. All these things cannot touch it. And we're going to live 2026 with that kind of idea and that kind of vocabulary. All right. We're still going to experience things, but we're going to speak to it as if it has no provision to be in our life. Or the things that we do want, that we know that we have provision, we have the ability to have that provision in our life. We're going to speak that these things come: healing and wholeness, joy and abundance. You know, we're going to, and some of this might talk about finance, right? So these are the things that we get to talk about. Listen to me clearly. Your spirit, your soul, and your body is untouchable. I'm pausing for let that to hit. Untouchable by corruption. And we make our soul, our spirit, soul, and body where it is touchable by the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And that is probably most likely governed between your ears as you have more revelation and insight of who He is, who He says you are in Him, and whose house you're a resource from. And with that, I'm gonna finish this up. Kim may not want me to share this. I didn't ask her, but she was talking about what she saw the other day. And I was talking about how most of us are walking around like a horse with blinders on. Okay? Most people are walking around like a horse with a blinder on. You're only allowed to see a certain portion of your perspective. And that's when Kim laughed and Kim had her vision and she shared it with me. Should
I tell them?
Sure, tell them.
So we're talking about religious people too, that we were trained to see this way. And just as vividly as I could, and I burst out laughing, I told him, but now, thankfully, I said, I just have this picture of where we are, and we're not a horse with blinders on anymore. We're a freaking unicorn running through a field with a rainbow coming out of our behind. And I just, with the freedom, and I totally just had this picture. So John uses AI to interpret my craziness. And this is what he saw. This is what I got delivered to my phone. But I just felt like it was so funny because I saw that. And that's a really good rendition of what I saw in my spirit. What I saw in my is that's us now. And I was like, that's hilarious. I am not a horse with blinders on. I'm a unicorn running through a field with a rainbow coming out. So there you go.
On in his dang chat GPT obsession.
Yes, John and his AI obsession, it's good for a lot of things. So be it, I told him there's a whole line of merchandise that I used to like make fun of or not really like. Now I'm gonna look for it. It says be a unicorn. I'm gonna be a unicorn.
All right, I think Justin wants to add to. Go ahead, Justin.
I had a very similar vision a couple of years ago. It was not, it was the same conceptual vision. It was
Sure.
me standing outside of a fish tank and pointing into the fish tank.
Come on.
And the fish tank was the religious mindset and the doctrines and all that was set up. And I was outside of it, pointing into it, looking inside. So it was the same thing. God was showing me, Papa was showing me, okay, you're outside of the tank, you're outside of the limitations. So now let's go. You know, it was nice.
Amen. 2026, back here. It's going to be an amazing year. We're going to grow and we're going to mature in our relationship with the Father, and that's going to develop into outflow and the ripple effect, and our perspectives are going to shift, and our union is going to even mean more to us than that we've ever known. So, with all that, and I seen the last, thought that's the last screen. So 30 screens at 2 minutes apiece means, no, 20 screens at what is it? No, it's 30 screens at 2 minutes means we've been an hour. So we'll end with that. God bless you. Thank you for being here. We'll do it again next Sunday. And on this Thursday, we will be gathering back in downtown Lakeland for Father's Chapel. So if you have the ability to tune in live stream or be there in person, we would love for you to be there. If not, it will be immediately uploaded and you can watch it again, or you can relive it through us on the YouTube. Okay. Love you guys. Go be the unicorn in the field with the rainbow coming out your behind. Okay. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Happy New Year,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Happy New
Bye.
Year. Bye bye. Adios.